Many years ago in England there ruled a king called Arthur, and, as all the world knows, he had a following of knights who used to meet around a big round table. This is the story of one of these knights. This is the story of Sir Boris, the Starry Knight. Sir Boris always took the greatest care to keep his armour in the very best, first-class condition, and his horse, and his weapons, and everything else for that matter. He would sit for hours polishing his armour till it sparkled and gleamed. He would sharpen his sword till a blade of grass dropped on it would be cut neatly in two. He even brushed his horse's teeth till they shone. When the knights met with King Arthur at his round table, Sir Boris would always take out a duster and carefully clean his seat before sitting down. His armour was so shiny that it seemed to sparkle with little stars of light. That was why he was called the Starry Knight. Although he was so smart, Sir Boris was not very good at fighting. Partly this was because he spent so much time looking after his armour that he didn't practice as much as the other knights. Partly it was because he was so worried about getting his armour dented or dirty that he didn't fight as hard as he might. None of the other knights really liked having to fight on the same side as Sir Boris because of this. One day a big tournament was arranged. King Louis of France was to send a lot of his knights to try their skill against the knights of the Round Table. Although it was the middle of summer, a lot of King Arthur's knights were ill. There was a horrible cold going around, and it's very unpleasant to sneeze if you're shut in a suit of armour. That was how Sir Boris came to be fighting, even though he wasn't very good. There just wasn't anyone else. The two teams of knights on their horses took up positions at each end of a field. A herald blew a trumpet, rather badly because he had a cold too. A lady dropped a banner and the knights charged towards each other. The French knights looked much bigger and fiercer and stronger. King Arthur's knights would have had their knees knocking together if the horses weren't in the way. But just as it seemed that all was lost, everything changed. The sun came out. It seemed to be shining straight at Sir Boris. Instead of his armour shining with lots of little stars, the whole breastplate shone dazzlingly bright. It shone right into the eyes of the knights charging towards him, and into their horses' eyes. They all started to bump into each other. Some put their hands over their eyes and dropped their lances. Some fell off. Sir Boris and his friends had no trouble in knocking the rest of them off their horses and winning the prize, a big silver cup. All the knights were very pleased with Sir Boris and said they would never have won without him. "Ah, well," he said, "I always knew that time spent polishing was worthwhile." But later he wished that he hadn't said that. Guess who had to clean the big silver cup? That's right, Sir Boris.